What's going on, everyone? Only Sports back with another video. In this video, I want to talk about the press conference that took place today. Of course, Joe Schoen was, today was in New York, and he had his first press conference as the GM of the New York Giants. It was an exciting day for a lot of people. I was really looking forward to this, and I just want to quickly in this video go over some of the things he said, and stuff that I found interesting, and even things with John Mara, things that he said, and that's exactly where I want to start off. I want to start off with John Mara, and he, one of the quotes he said is, "He's seen how it should be done." So, obviously, John Mara clearly sees that Joe Schoen came from an organization that knew how to build their roster, and it seems like that might be the way John Mara wants to build his roster, similar to the Buffalo Bills. So I found that quote interesting, and I think he really has a lot of trust in Joe Schoen. He also said something very interesting on Daniel Jones, this is something that I said in my video. I made a whole video on it yesterday. I talked about why the New York Giants screwed Daniel Jones and what they did, and how they how they messed up his career. And John Mara came out in the press conference and he said, "We've done everything possible to screw this kid up," which is, it's pure honesty from John Mara, and it's very good to see that he's being honest. So I definitely like to see that. And then one thing the two guys both said is that they may have a head coach by Saturday morning. So it seems like it could be on Saturday morning, and it also seems like at the very latest it would be probably Tuesday or Wednesday next week. But I don't really think it's going to get to that point based off the things that they've said. Now jumping into Joe Schoen and the stuff he had to say, and there was a ton to take from this press conference. And I want to start off with Daniel Jones. He had tons to say on Daniel Jones, including, him saying that, he wants to build the offense around Daniel Jones, which is very interesting. I think that based off what he said, and that, he said the GM himself, the team, they believe in Jones. Same with John Mara, the ownership. They all believe in Daniel Jones. He was in the building. He talked to Jones yesterday. He's heard nothing but good things about him. In the last 2 days he was in the building. He talked to a couple of the players. So I found that very interesting, and I feel like he's going to go at least into next season with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, alongside Sterling Shepard and Logan Ryan, were the three players in attendance for this, which was very interesting, as well as Patrick Graham. And I think Patrick Graham, there's a lot better of a chance that he is back as the defensive coordinator, based off some of the things Shane said. But another interesting thing Shane said, which is very encouraging as a Giants fan, he said that he will be given every resource possible by ownership to build the team into a winner. So it sounds like Mara and Tisch and the organization is willing to do anything possible to get this team back to where they need to be. Shane, was asked about the salary cap. He said it's a real concern. He said it's a concern, and it's real. And he also talked about Kevin Abrams, and he said that he's going to sit down with Kevin Abrams and figure out the cap situation, which means that more than likely Kevin Abrams is hanging around. Not many Giants fans are going to like that, but it sounds like Joe Schoen is a guy who brings in his own guys, and I don't know if Kevin Abrams is going to have much to do with the Giants. I think he's going to be more of a cap guy, and that's about it. And then Joe Schoen said, like he said all along, he believes in drafting, developing, and retaining our own. So he really believes in, drafting, the drafting process, which I think is pretty obvious. That's mainly what they did in Buffalo. They were never really big spenders. They made really one bold trade with the Stephon Diggs trade. But for all the New York Giants fans wanting Deshaun Watson, I know I made a video. It's a hypothetical. John Mara came out and said we are not trading for Deshaun Watson. So it seems pretty straightforward that Giants are going into 2022 at the very least with Daniel Jones as the QB1. So I think I think both Joe Schoen and John Mara, they made that pretty evident. Shane said he's going to build the offense around Jones, which leads me into the next thing. Talking about the head coach, he was asked about Brian Daboll, and as soon as he was asked about Brian Daboll in the head coaching search, he then talked about Brian Flores as well as Dan Quinn. So it seems like these are the three candidates, the finalists for the job. I think it's down to these three guys. I think if I had to rank them 1, 2, 3 of who I want the most, Flores I want the most, then Daboll, then Quinn. Who would I predict in the top 3? I would think Daboll's the top choice and chance to get the job, and then Flores, and then Dan Quinn. He did say he has respect for all three of those guys, and he also said he's heard good things from Miami about Brian Flores. He's got ties to there, so I found that very interesting. He also brought up heavily improving the offensive line. He brought up the Saints game, and he said that's a game that he watches from the Giants, and he can really see the talent of the team when they're at full health. But he, on the O-line, he said he wants to improve it, and I think that's pretty evident. I think that's something that obviously everyone needs to, everyone in around the team needs to understand. That's the main thing here, and I think Joe Schoen really early into this, I think, kind of understands. So he said about Saquon Barkley, he's excited, and when he came out of college and into the draft, he was a rare talent. So it's clear he likes Saquon Barkley and the talent he has. And then he said, if you want to see Daniel Jones put his best foot forward, he's got to be on his feet. If you want to see what Saquon can do, it would be nice if we could block guys. So it's clear he's going to build the offensive line through the draft. So expect at the very least, with one of those first 2 picks, an offensive lineman. I think that's pretty obvious there. And then he just continued to talk good things about Jones and Saquon, and I thought that was very interesting. And then he also said something that's a lot of Giants fans right now are getting mixed up with a comment Dave Gettleman made. He said he wants to win now. Dave Gettleman said this. He wants to win now and build for the future, which is wrong. And Joe Schoen said something similar but completely different at the same time. He wants to compete and build for the future. So he wants to compete now and see his team progressing in the right direction and moving in the right direction and showing that what he's building is proper. So I think that's a very interesting thing. And he was asked about if he believes in tearing it up. He said no. And he said he is absolutely not going to tear it up. And then he reiterated the point. He wants to compete in 2022 moving forward, and he wants to build for the future. So I thought these were really interesting things. And then the one thing that's pretty funny that I wanted to talk about was the encounter he had in terms of, his flight to New York with the plane ticket. It was a very funny and interesting situation and question asked by Ralph Vacchiano. So during Joe Schoen's flight to New York, John Mara said you're going to have to sit at the back of the plane in the middle next to a bathroom, and that I guess that got out to the reporters, and they asked him on that, and he chuckled. And then he went on to say, "I don't care. I would do anything to get here. I'm interviewing for the New York Giants GM job. I'll sit on the wing for all I care." So it's clear he's so excited to be here, and he really, really wants to, get this team going. He clearly, this is a job of his dreams. He told he asked Bill Parcells about this job, and Bill Parcells told Joe Schoen that the Giants were the best job in the league. So there's a lot of people that think that this is a good situation he's coming into. He said he doesn't take this lightly. Right off the bat, he said, "I don't take this lightly." So it's clear Joe Schoen's a pretty put together guy. He knows what it takes to win. He's coming from a winning organization, and as a Giants fan, I couldn't be happier to have Joe Schoen in as the general manager of the New York Football Giants. Hopefully he hires a good head coach, and then they can pick the coordinators from there and have a good offseason through the draft, free agency, and they can get things going. I'm super excited to put out all this content moving forward in the offseason. It's going to be busy. Lots of videos going to be coming out on the channel, potentially even live streams. So I'm very excited as a fan and as a content creator to see where this team's headed. It looks like they're going in the right direction with this hiring of Joe Schoen. He seems like a guy who knows completely what's going on, and he seems like he's going to get this ship rolling into the right direction. But guys, that's all I got in this video. You guys let me know down below in the comment section your thoughts on this opening press conference for Joe Schoen with the New York Giants. I thought it was pretty good. I thought there were interesting things, and I touched on the main things. Let me know your thoughts on all of that down below. And as always, please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We'll see you guys all in the next video. Let's go Giants.